Hello friends, and welcome back to Enterprise Architecture. Now, last episode we completed all of the things that we needed for all of the Phase 3 space elevator in Satisfactory. So we are now on to Phase 4. That means Tiers 7 and 8 are unlocked. If that means nothing to you, or you haven't played much Satisfactory, what we're going to have to start doing now is work on aluminum refining and some of the other end game items here. Now, realistically, I don't think we're going to complete all of this before 1.0 comes out. The new version of Satisfactory is on the horizon here, and really quickly, it's going to be pushed into our little downloads folder. And that means most of our mods will stop working. We are using a lot of mods in this particular pack that I'm playing, so that's going to be problematic for us. They're also going to be moving around a whole lot of our resource nodes, and that also throws a wrench in our plans, as well as changing recipes for fundamental ingredients like computers and heavy frames, which means a lot of the factories that you see in front of you here are going to be, well, basically useless. No further ado, let's dive right in. So, as I was just saying, we have Tiers 7 and 8 unlocked, and the first thing we are going to need to do in Tier 7 here is to get all of this aluminum refining done. Bauxite refinement, as they call it. So, we need to add all of our ingredients here and send that off for processing. Boom. All right. So now we can now we can actually start doing things with aluminum. We need to start setting up our first aluminum factories here. So bauxite is what we are looking for. All right, so here we are in the Red Forest, and we have indeed one of our first nodes of bauxite. So I'm going to go ahead and set up a miner here. The question is, do we have Mark II miners unlocked yet, or are we still back on Mark I? I believe that we had unlocked, yeah, we've got Mark II, great. So we can go ahead and set this up here. I'm just going to plonk it down haphazardly to start. Now, one great thing about this area is all of the water turbine nodes. There's a boatload of them. So we are going to use that for power as much as we can here. So let's just pick a direction and start building that out. I think I'm going to go due south to start setting up our power network. I think we have our first turbine node right here. Okay, now these aren't going to be especially powerful, but we don't need a lot of power. I'm just looking for a little bit of supplementary power to put into our general network here so that we can power things off of it. Let's go down to refine power and pick up our water turbine. There we go. Plonk this right down here. I think this has to go reverse to what I think it does. There we go. And then we can connect this up to a power line. I'm just going to put it over here and this into our general node. All right, so I think I've tapped just about every single water power node that is in the Red Forest that I have been able to find. There's some on the fringes I haven't been able to get to, and of course this one here is actually a mistake. I think I've actually tapped into that, but it says purity temp, so I don't think that that is a real one. So with all of that done, we are now producing 1100 megawatts, which is a nice little place to start for our mining. All right, so our first little machine here is getting 120 bauxite per minute. We will max that out to 300 per minute, so we should be good there. Now what we need to do is go grab those other two nodes that are nearby, and we are looking for the wrong thing. We're still looking for water. There we go. And these should both be over here. There is our next node, I believe. Yes, that's only an impure node. That is not a problem for us though. We are going to drop down our Mark II miner on top of that. And we'll just point it that way for now. I'm just choosing a random direction. We will need to hook it up to our main power, which I will do here momentarily, but I am going to go ahead and top this out with an overclocked mining speed. There we go, and 75 per minute, not nearly as good. Again, we will overclock this all the way up. Let's see how much we can get out of here, 150 per minute, and there is the fourth one. So we just need to wire this into our main line, and we will be good to go. And this line is going to give us 150 per minute. So given that we have a nice little diamond pattern here, let's go ahead and plan for some sort of a train station right here in the middle, or other place to start aggregating all of this aluminum. So we need to take our bauxite and combine it with water to make our alumina solution, excuse me, and that'll also give us some silicone on the side. We'll then need to take that solution, combine it with coal to make our aluminum scrap. And then that aluminum scrap we can use with that silica that we had in the first place to make our actual aluminum ingots. And then that we can process with copper to make the all-clad sheets. So it's a bit of a chain here. Now there's a decent amount of water here, but I'm not sure where the nearest coal is. That's one of the two ingredients we're gonna need. Oh, it does look like we have a decent amount nearby, actually right nearby. And that's a normal coal node here. It also looks like, oh, that there's two more conveniently placed for exactly this production, in addition to the water. So the only other thing that we might need is raw quartz to be able to make our silica. Let's see if there's any nearby in this vicinity at all. Oh, it does look like there are a couple of nodes to the south here. So maybe we will go ahead and set up our little plant for our, oh, and there's more over there, our little plant for aluminum processing on this end of the map. Alright, after a ridiculous amount of deforestation, we now have cleared this entire area here and we are ready to start building. Now it is worth noting that there are some of these that I can't seem to be able to cut down. I think this one's just a stray. But yeah, you can see there's nothing here to connect with. So we can start building out around this area now pretty safely. And I think we need to probably put down our water extractors first. Alright, so I think this is going to be generally a good place to start laying out our factory floor. We're just going to do this with basic factory foundations for now, and move ourselves up to something a little bit more interesting over time. So I'm going to be the first to admit that I am often stymied and confused by the various recipes necessary to make aluminum. It's very confusing to me until you get the advanced recipes about how to get the right amount of silica and everything else that you need into the system, but I think I've got this laid out correct for now. We do have our 150 bauxite per minute times 2 here in these two refineries. So that's going to be enough to just from that single miner that we have over here. This is giving us 300 per minute. So that's going to fill these two. The secondary output of this is going to be what is that? 125 silica. Now that 125 silica is going to get routed all the way over here, but the alumina solution, all 600 of that is going to come in here and give us 450 alumina scrap. That alumina scrap then goes into the 4 different foundries we have here and split evenly, and that will then give us a grand total of 75 times 4, which is 300 aluminum per minute. Now, we don't have enough silica to fill all of these. We need 375 all day, so we need to bring in a second source of silica from over there somewhere where we had found our quartz. And the other thing is, of course, that we have waste water coming out of this component that we need to deal with. 300 per minute, in fact. So that should feed into the next set of refineries here, but we need to set up a water prioritization system. And before we do that, I want to get everything figured out first. So we are actually going to use Akila's lovely fluid deletion mod here, which somewhere in here gives us a fluid dump. Where is a fluid sink? Here we go. So we can actually just put a fluid sink down, and this is going to be our temporary solution to this problem here. So let's go ahead and connect that up, and we will worry about that at a future date. There we go. So temporary solution done here. Now, time to start laying out the rest of these fluids here. So I think this is going to go straight into that one for now. Did I line those up properly in the first place? It looks like I did. And then we can put on a fluid junction cross here right on this one. Just about, I want it to be right on that edge. So let's do there. And then this can go into there. All right, for our logistics, let's go ahead and put down some floor holes to start. And then we're gonna use our conveyor lifts Mark IV going into these, just like so. Those should sync up properly. And then underneath here, they're going to come back out on this side, and we will lay down a logistics floor, I think on this edge. There we go. And so now all we need to do is put some splitters into place roughly where we want them to go, and then we can fix up these. So let's get these lined up right about here. And then this one will go right about here, and we just need to make sure that those are lined up properly. Let's hold that in place so I can eyeball this real quick, because whatever reason I'm not getting those lines. Yeah, just like that. Okay, and then we just remove the conveyor lifts and put them back into place. Perfect. Okay, and now we can connect these up with our Mark IV belts. Okay, and now all we need to do is add our water extractors in here. So it's not going to like the angle I have these at. I just need to find a place that's deep enough for it, and then I can rotate these into place. Alright, it looks like I can snap 4 into place pretty easily there. The question is, can I maybe get 4 more on the other side here? Yeah, that seems to be right, and now we should be able to bop these right off of that. Oh, can I get another one on here? I think I can actually get another one on this side. Okay, so now we should be able to run our water off of this, and if we overclock these, that should give us 300 per minute in each of them. Yeah, there we go. So let's just copy and paste. Oh, we can't, right? They're water extractors. No copying and pasting for water extractors. All right, so 2 of these will fill an entire pipe to 600, and that will then give us a little more than what we need for 1 of these. So basically 450 and 450, so we are going to have to do multiple pipes here to get to that 900. I feel like 2 600s and then another 2 600s should get us there, and then we'll use the overflow in the next extractor. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so if we go over half a foundation, we can use our horizontal to vertical pipe to make these look nice and tidy. There we go, that should line up well. And now all we have to do is hook up our pipes. We're just gonna run these as far as we can over here. I think to about there is where we're gonna get. And eventually we're gonna have multiple layers of pipes here. Obviously there's gonna need to be a boatload of water coming in, no pun intended. So we do need to increase our head lift. So let's go ahead and add ourselves a series of Mark II pipeline pumps. Actually, we only need Mark I, I think, in this case, but we'll probably need 2 sets, 1 here and 1 on the next set. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Trying to see if that's going to go all the way up. Oh, it does go all the way up. Okay, that's great. So let's put a row of these in place. There we go. Great. So these should start pumping, and in theory that means we're going to get water all the way up to this level. Yes, we are. Current amount of pipe looks good. And now we just need to run the water into these. So let's assume this is going to go right about here. And then we just need to add in our junctions. So let's grab those up. We're going to do a junction cross here. Just like this. And then we're actually going to put another one on this end because we're going to need to top up this pipe at that point. Oh, and then we need one more right here. There we go. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at where we left our nearest coal node. Right here in the main section. And that is giving us, what's that? 300 coal per minute. So let's run this back over this way too, but I might go ahead and do the same thing we did before, where we place this on top of a series of foundations. All right, let's see if we can get this locked in place here, right on top of these foundations. We just need to swivel this just a little bit until it lines up. Yeah, just like that. Perfect, and now we should be able to then run our various ingredients into here, if this dude will move out of the way. And yeah, we should be able to run this all the way that way. All right, our coal is now overclocked, so we should be getting 150 per minute. And that's about where we want to be. All right, so now we've got our coal coming in here. We're making a boatload of aluminum scrap, and we are dumping our extra water. Easy enough. I think I am gonna run our aluminum scrap just over ground here as regular belts. and then I will bring the silica up through the floor. All right, and there's all of our silica that we have so far coming in here, so that should start filling up there. All right, we are over here at our 2 quartz nodes, and there's also a thorium node right here, so we can go ahead and set up our miners. Now, just because we are way out in the middle of nowhere isn't an excuse to not necessarily make this kind of look a little bit nicer, so we are going to keep with our trick here of using our coated concrete foundations, or actually in this case I think I'm just going to use regular concrete foundations to kind of frame this in a little bit here. So if I get these two sort of in a line, we will go ahead and build ourselves a little platform, something like this. Hopefully if that guy will move out of the way. Come on, walk away. Just walk away, man. There we go. Now we can lay this down, and now we should be able to put our 2 miners on top of that. Let's do just like this, all nice and tidy. There we go. And now we can also go ahead here and make ourselves, he just keeps getting in the way, a couple of mergers is what I was going to say. Okay, so fully maxed out here with our energy shards, we are going to need, I think, 2 of our solar power generators to be able to keep up with that, even at Mark II. So let's grab, yeah, these are 75 each, so that's going to be just short of what we need for 1 of these. So let's go ahead and put these down. I'm going to put this here, and I'm going to put another one right next to it here. Are you going to let me put it right there? I think you will. Now, we do have night disabled, so I don't actually have any concerns about that, but I'm going to go ahead and use this extra space here to lay a bunch of these down. So let's do this. So I've got our quartz routed and coming in, and I also went ahead and found a nearby limestone node just off over the edge of the cliffs here, where I am bringing that in, and we are going to combine that in this facility to make our silica. Now, we do have some pretty significant bottlenecks resource-wise here, because this is not enough limestone. I'm going to have to go hunting for a bunch more limestone nodes in order to be able to use all of the quartz that we have coming out here. But we're going to start bringing this into this facility here, and I've laid this out right over top of the water like this. So I think what we're going to do here is this is going to be the logistics and routing floor. We're going to go up probably 2 levels on top of that and give us some space. And then from there, we are going to start setting up all of those assemblers above. All right, so I've turned on 6 of these, which accounts for the 150 limestone that we are bringing in here. So that's still going to be a little bit short, but we're pretty close there on it. And that means we are now producing about 180, almost 190 something, a little over 190 something silica back out of here. So that's going to top up our overall silica production that we've got all the way over here going into this system. Now, we do need to make sure that we have a some sort of a dump turned on here so that we have our extra stuff getting expelled from the system so that we don't back up on the output of the silica on this machine, because then that's going to bring everything to a halt per usual. So we do need to set up a resource dump over here. So let's go ahead and put that down as low as we can here. I think what we want to do is actually put it like off this side, like do a splitter here so that our overflow goes the other direction. And right here is fine. We can snuggle this into the ground a little bit. And I guess that means we don't need any of these. Okay, perfect. That goes there. And let's just bring this up and over out this side of the factory. And then we're going to loop this over into this. So let's do right here and just run our belts. All right, so now we are automatically already producing a whole bunch of aluminum ingots that we can start using. So the only thing left to do is to offload all of that aluminum out into another location, probably over here where we can build a train station in the future. So let's go ahead and do an output on this side, and we're just going to dump this into a storage container for now, just as a temporary solution. We'll come over here, set up our mergers, and then output this. So everything is now flowing relatively smoothly. That means it's time to start with the most interesting part of this, the decoration. So I want to start with this, the facility that hangs over top of these waterfalls, because I think it's the most interesting piece of this so far. And then we can copy whatever design we end up with this over to our main facilities as well. So what I was thinking about I wanted to do here is, I do love this archway here. I'm probably going to tear these out though, because I want something that goes up a little bit more. Some sort of a bit of an arch here would be good. And the other thing I want to do on this is potentially have inset walls a little bit here on these edges. So one thing I had done in a previous build, what was that? Season 1, I think, when we had built a facility that I did little tiny insets on the bottoms of the walls, and I'll show you what I mean here. So basically what I like to do is, first off, let's switch from our 4x4 foundations to the half-size foundations, right? And we tuck these along these edges here, and I want to make sure that the concrete side is facing out. Not the finished side, but the raw side, like this. And then I nudge these 2 steps back into the wall like so. And so that gives me a little bit of an overhang here, and I think those overhangs are really nice and work really well. So we want to do that again, and we just want to go all the way down to the ground with these. And now I'm just going to do a bunch more of these all the way over. Alright, so there is our framed out structure here, and now we can start with framing this in a little bit better with some decoration, some glass, all of that good stuff that makes it look more like a factory and not just like a random brutalist building. So I'm going to go ahead and take a little while and lay out all of these here, so we should be able to have a nice little lighting strip all along the bottom. So that's going to be sort of what we end up with here. Now, I do want to bring in a couple of other elements here, so let's also go ahead and start thinking about putting in some windows here. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I want to do more than just windows. I think I'm going to go down to our basic walls here and put these underneath. So let's go ahead and grab this, and let's make this concrete for now, right? The first one's going to be concrete. I'm going to go 1, 2 back, so that's going to match the edge of this, or at least pretty close to matching the edge of that. So that's going to be our concrete wall, and you can see the color is like noticeably different than our concrete foundation. Again, this is one of those things I don't like about Satisfactory. So actually, instead of concrete, let's paint this into fix-it wall, and now let's paint it a color. And I think we're going to do a custom color. Let's go back to our fix-it light blue. Let's select that and see how that looks. That's almost right with the water colors that we have here, but not quite where I want it. Let's go back to our customizer. What other colors do we have? We do have the lovely saturated blue. Let's do this real quick and see where that lands, and maybe just lighten it up just a hair, just a hair. And how does that look for us? Yeah, see, that's getting to be something that's a little bit interesting. So let's go ahead and run this stripe around here. Just gonna put it on this edge. Let's try putting this on the walls as well, wrapping around. Again, if you've seen the last couple of videos, you'd seen this little technique that I've been using to give us a little bit of striping. Again, that's one I picked up from Scratch Gaming. I just think that they're doing a fantastic job of adding these little stripe designs here, so I love that as a detail, and I've been using it a lot lately. And again, let's paint that up to match, and we're just going to see how this looks for us. Yeah, so that's going to be the blue and that pink coming together here. Yeah, there we go. That's starting to look real sharp. Okay, I can live with this. All right, so let me start playing with this a little bit. I'm going to start filling in the rest of this factory with this striping and this lighting, and we'll see how this looks in just a few. So I'm playing a little bit more with the colors here, and I do think I want to add a little bit of a tint to our concrete to make it look a little bit better in the landscape. The white matches very nicely with the general rock facing and whatnot, but I do think having just a hint of yellow in there gives us something nice to play with and gives it a little bit better contrast with our other colors. So I do like that. All right, almost half done. Just time to finish out the other side. All right, so our factories are decorated and well lit. So this is pretty much looking sharp, but it's not done yet. It still needs a little bit more to really bring this together. Right now, they're still just kind of boxes sitting in space. So I've added a little more blue detailing to this and a few more columns just to kind of give it a little bit more depth and dimension. And I think this pair of buildings has turned out awfully nice. Now what I want to do is add ourselves a little platform right here, as sort of an observation post out this side of this building. All right, and there we go. A lovely lookout tower that we can see all across the rest of the bamboo forest. As much as there is still a forest, we have cut down a whole lot of it at this point, but I think that looks pretty nice. And then I've gone ahead and created something similar over here with the rest of our structures. All of our other buildings that we created for our aluminum factory here, we've done similar. I've built another tower here. This one is for our power platform, but then we're using these same sorts of things to go in and out with these little bits of basic wall rails. And of course, this is a very large building for our refineries here that will be the main building for creating our alumina solution. But then these other ones are much smaller but can be expanded easily. But we are now full up on aluminum, which was the goal of today's episode. So I think all of this has come together rather nicely. Now, these facilities are a little bit boxier than I would like. I think the other buildings worked better because we did have all of those angles on the corner. So I might go back through here and drag these out a little bit further and then cut angles throughout so that they have a little bit more texture to them and don't just look like large boxes. But these large box pieces I have created blueprints for. So this is the end cap of that building. And then also in here, we can load the blueprint for the other one. Let's go ahead and grab that, the blue factory strip unit that goes through the middle. And then you can just tile these together as soon as this loads in to be able to create these long factories. So this works pretty well for us, and you can just repeat these over and over again, and that's how these last two got done. Now, because we are playing modded Satisfactory here, I have added the deco mod, the decorations mod, and that gives us access to all of these pieces of bamboo that we had previously cut down. So if we want, we can actually replace these around the area and just kind of make this look a little bit nicer. All right, and there we go. Now we've added back some of the forest and really made this look like it's more in its natural habitat. I think this is working out really well for us. But with that, I think this brings us to the end of this episode of Enterprise Architecture. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you back here next time. Bye, friends.